Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session of the Launch and Learn series. I am Praise Benson, a junior digital marketing executive here at Futuresoft. Launch and Learn is a bi-weekly program where each staff gets to train people on topics relating to our industry. If today is your first time joining us, you are welcome. Today, Darasimi Alao, our web project manager, will be facilitating today's session on the topic strategies for managing stakeholder expectations and ensuring successful website launches, planning, execution, and effective use of project management tools. Kindly mute your mic as we continue with the session. And if you have questions to ask as the session goes on, kindly drop them in the chat and they will be addressed by Darasimi after her presentation. Thank you for your cooperation. Over to you, Dara.
Thank you very much, Praise. You're welcome, guys. My name is Darasimi Alao, and I am a junior web project manager here at Futuresoft. And you're welcome to my Launch and Learn session once again. So today we are going to be discussing the strategies for managing stakeholder expectations and ensuring successful website launches. And so we are going to be exploring the introduction, the identifying key stakeholders, stakeholder expectations, strategies for managing stakeholders' expectations, measuring success, and of course, the conclusion. But before we go straight into the topic, I'd like to share a quote from Steve Jobs that goes as thus: "Get closer than ever to your customers, so close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it themselves." So this quote basically encompasses what the job of a web project manager or a project manager is in a nutshell. You have to know your project, your clients well enough that you can help them make informed decisions by knowing all of the things that could go wrong and that is well with the project before embarking on a project. So in the introduction to this project, we are going to be navigating success, managing stakeholder expectations for website launches. In web projects, project management involves the use of problem-solving skills to solve unique challenges and identifying opportunities. In the context of web development projects, this presentation encompasses the methodologies and practices employed to effectively manage the expectations of various stakeholders involved in the development process, which ultimately leads to a successful website launch. It involves careful planning, meticulous execution, and the utilization of project management tools to align stakeholder visions with project goals, mitigate risk, and ensure the timely and seamless delivery of high-quality websites. So as a web project manager, really, you need to think of yourself in a scenario where, for example, you're an event planner and you are planning a party, and the successful execution of this party literally depends on the satisfaction of everyone involved, from yourself and your team to your client to everyone that is going to be attending this particular party. And success for different people in this party may mean different things, right? Some people may think, oh, there was enough drinks at this party, I enjoyed myself. And some people may think, oh, I had enough food at this party, I enjoyed myself. So success at each different level and for different stakeholders mean different things. This is something that you need to be able to identify, and also so you can tailor what success means to every individual that is involved in the project. Identifying what key stakeholders are, stakeholders and their roles in website development. So here we are going to be discussing about who our stakeholders are and their specific roles in the successful launch of a website. So the first stakeholder here on my list is a client. These are practically individuals, organizations that commission the website development project. These are your primary people that you need to focus on, the people that are giving you the job, which are your clients, basically. They provide the initial requirements, the funding, and overall vision for the website, and play a pivotal role in the implementation phase, where they give feedback and take part in the QA testing. So your clients are primarily the people that are like the decision makers. They are the ones that are giving you this project, the web project. They are the ones that are funding. They are the ones that giving feedbacks. You are giving feedbacks. You are the one that you are reporting progress of every step of the project to. And ultimately, they take part in the QA testing of the project to make sure that this has been tailored to this has been tailored specifically to what they need for their web project. The next stakeholder on this list is the executives. An executive and management within the client organization or development agency may have oversight and decision-making responsibilities for the project. The executive are not necessarily the primary people that make decisions, but they might have an oversight onto like the feedbacks that you are giving and the things that they want the project to look like. Your end users are the people who will ultimately use the website once it's launched. Depending on the purpose of the website, they include existing and potential customers, employees, and other stakeholder groups. So your end users in a web project are basically the people that are going to use this website when it's finally launched. So you need to also identify what their role is. Users that are going to be going through the website. If it's an e-commerce website, you want to make sure that it is a seamless experience from trying to purchase or going through the product that are on the website to checking out. So all of these things are things that you need to identify as a web project manager so that you can sort of like understand what these people are going to need, and so you can work towards that to make sure that the project is a success at the end of the day. Then the next stakeholder on my list is the internal project team. This group comprises individuals directly involved in the development process, such as the project managers, the designers, developers, content creators, and quality assurance testers. So here at Futuresoft, we obviously have like different departments that get involved in web projects, right? Myself, I am the web project manager, obviously, right? So we have the designers, the developers, content creators, and of course, the people that are going to do a QA testing at the end of the web project. So all of these people play a pivotal role in the web project, basically. So you cannot exclude yourself or your team from the stakeholders, basically. Then the marketing and sales team. This team may have input in the website design, functionality, and content to ensure it aligns with broader marketing and sales objectives. The marketing team basically ensure that, anything that you're integrating on the website or the look and feel, the functionality of this website is easy for them to create conversion around it as they are the marketing team, right? And the last but not the least on our stakeholder list are the third-party vendors. The external vendors or service providers, such as hosting providers, domain registrars, or third-party integrations may also be stakeholders. Keyword is mean, right? It is not important they are stakeholders in a website development, but it is important to note that they might have a reason to want to be involved in the web project because there are some integrations or there are some external things that you want to integrate on a website. You want to make sure that their products or their services do not have an impact on the development of your operation. So you want to make sure that that communication with them is seamless and that you can get through to them at any point in time. So the stakeholders' expectation that we are going to be exploring are the importance of identifying and understanding stakeholder expectations. Identifying stakeholder expectation is crucial in the website development project for the following reasons. The first reason is the aligning goals. By understanding the expectation of stakeholders, project team can align project goals and objectives with the needs and desires of customers, ensuring everyone is working towards a common vision. Remember when I spoke about you being an event planner as a web project manager, right? And you want to make sure that everyone is satisfied from your clients to your end user. So this aligning your goals is one of the important things you need to make sure you do as a web project manager. Your customers need to be satisfied. You're ensuring that everybody are on the same page and you are working towards the same goal. You need to also manage the scope. Managing the scope, clear stakeholder expectations help define the project scope and prevent scope creep, where additional features or changes are requested during development, leading to delays or budget overruns. So managing the scope of a web project is very, very vital, because if you don't do that, at the end of the day, your project may crumble and it may not get to the point where you can measure success. You're going to have like time delays, your budget can overrun because you have to things that you ought to have done or things that you ought to have managed at the beginning of the project. Now you're thinking about them at the end of the project. All of these things can and will have an effect on the success of your project. Enhancing communication. The importance of identifying the stakeholder expectations facilitates effective communication through the project lifecycle. It allows project teams to provide regular updates, address concerns, and solicit feedback to ensure project progress aligns with stakeholder expectations. At every point in time in a web project, you need to make sure that with every progress that you are making, you are communicating it with your stakeholders, right? Primarily, the stakeholders that you are going to be communicating this progress with are going to be your clients and or maybe to the internal team that you have. You need to make sure that everyone, like I said before, are on the same page and this communication is seamless. It is not like, the designer is doing something the developer doesn't know about. Everybody needs to communicate and know that this project is a we thing and it's not a me thing. So the team needs to be involved as much as the client needs to be involved. There needs to be a seamless communication between the team, the web team, and also the client. Then examples of stakeholder expectations. Here we are going to be talking about the different expectations that your stakeholders might be having. First off is your clients. What will your clients be expecting when you are creating a web project? Your clients obviously would expect the website to reflect their brand identity and values while achieving specific business objectives, such as increasing sales or brand awareness. Your end users are going to expect the website to be user-friendly, visually appealing, and accessible across different devices and browsers. Why you need to honestly take note of your stakeholders' expectation is that, like I said in the beginning of this topic, is that success to different people in the stakeholders mean different things. I'm going to still use the analogy of the event planning, right? Some people may think that, oh, I was able to connect with people, I was able to expand my network by going to this event. That is success to them. So you need to understand that different stakeholders have different meanings of what like the success of the web project mean to them. So your internal team members expect clear project requirements, timeliness, and resources to successfully execute their roles. You need to also take note of the executive and management expectations as well, which is basically that it aligns with organization goals, adhere to budget constraints, and meet established deadlines. While the marketing and sales team would expect the website to support marketing campaigns, capture leads, and drive conversion effectively. All of these examples are primarily what your stakeholders would expect at every point in time of this project. And yeah, it is very important for you as a project manager or as a web project manager to be able to identify all of these things. Why managing stakeholder expectation is key. You would ask yourself that what is the reason for managing stakeholder expectations? Whether you're a web project manager or you are a project manager, all of these stakeholders have a vital role to play in any project that you're handling at all. And these are some of the reasons. First is the risk mitigation. By identifying and understanding the expectations of stakeholders, project team can proactively address concerns, mitigate risk, and deliver successful website development project that meet or exceed stakeholder expectations. I want to put out like different keywords in this definition that I just made, right? When you understand and you identify the expectations of your stakeholders, your team that are building this website or this project can proactively address concerns because you already know firsthand that these are the things that our stakeholders are going to expect. And by identifying that and proactively addressing all of these concerns, you can mitigate the risk, can reduce the risk of budget overruns and time delays, so that all of these things can fit in the time constraints. And when you want to launch this website, you do not only aim to meet the expectations of your stakeholders, you need to also aim to exceed it as well. Then the other reason is for project success. Obviously, when you're doing a project, your end goal is the success of this project. So success of a website launch is often measured by factors such as client satisfaction, functionality, performance, and adherence to project timelines and budget. All of these specific reasons, all of these things are the things that you need to consider when you want to measure success for your project. Managing stakeholder expectation ensures that these success criteria are clearly defined, understood, and met through project lifecycle. Another reason is the long-term relationship. I'll tell you that for a project manager or web project manager, you want to foster long-term relationship with your clients. And how do you do that? You do that by meeting or exceeding your stakeholder expectations, building trust and confidence in the project team's ability to deliver. It fosters obviously positive relationship and strengthens partnership between your clients, team members, and other stakeholders. By making sure that you can, foster long-term relationship with your clients, it makes a one-time client turn to a returning client. And also, these clients can refer you to other people because they know that you know what you're doing, you know how to do your job, and then they have confidence in the fact that you are going to deliver a successful project. And I have done one. So here we are going to finally be discussing the strategic stakeholder management, how to manage stakeholders' expectations. Stakeholder mapping is one of the first ways to manage stakeholder expectations. Understanding stakeholder needs, interest, and influence levels is essential for tailoring engagement strategies and addressing their concerns effectively. So understanding what your stakeholders' needs are would help you to tailor the engagement strategies that you are going to be using for different stakeholders, right? So how do you do that? You do that by creating a detailed stakeholder map. You need to, like we've mentioned earlier, you now know who your different stakeholders are, from your clients, your internal team, to your end users, to the executive and management board members, to the marketing team. You need to create a map to identify these key stakeholders. And obviously, depending on the project that you are going to be handling, your stakeholders are not limited to all of those ones that I have listed earlier, I've talked about earlier. It might be much more than that. So you need to create a map where you can identify these key stakeholders and what their roles are specifically in your project. And so you can tailor their expectation and also their preferred communication channels and potential source of influence. Next strategy is the managing scope creep. Scope creep can lead to project delays, budget overruns, and dissatisfaction among stakeholders if not managed effectively. And obviously, as a web project manager or a project manager, you don't want this at all, because by the time you start overrunning your budget, or there's a delay in your deliverables, this is going to make your clients lose trust in you, or their confidence in you, that you are going to deliver a well-done job. So how do you manage your scope creep? You need to define a clear project scope, the objective and deliverables at the onset. See, when you primarily get a client that wants a project to be done, and they tell you everything that they want to be done and the time that they want it to be done, your job as a project manager is to honestly let them understand like everything that this project is going to take, right? You need to make them understand that there is a time frame and you are going to try your possible best to get to this time frame. You need to understand that and define everything that is going to be happening in this project to them from the onset. You don't make them assume that, oh, you can deliver this thing at this time frame when you cannot do that. So you need to define a clear project scope and the objective of your project. After defining all of these projects, you need to implement the change management process to access and prioritize to access and prioritize your scope changes. So when you manage and when you manage this process effectively, you need to also communicate the impact of proposed changes on project timelines, resources, and budget to stakeholders to manage expectations. This basically just means that if there is in at all any change in anything that is going to affect the progress of your project, you need to communicate it effectively and make your clients understand that this is the reason why we are going to be having maybe a delay in this and why we are going to have to deliver this a little bit later. All of this is going to honestly help you to be able to manage your stakeholders' expectation effectively. Next way to manage your stakeholders' expectation is by communication. Communication is very key if we are being honest, right? And regular communications foster not just transparency, but also trust and alignment among stakeholders throughout the project. Establish a communication plan that aligns the frequency, format, and channels for communication. Like I think I mentioned earlier that when you communicate effectively with your stakeholders, and not to forget that these stakeholders also involve your internal team, right? Everybody is on the same page and everybody's working towards a common goal, which is like the success of this website's launch or like the successful launch of this website, right? You need to know that everybody involved in this project are up to date at every point in time of the life cycle of this project. You are not supposed to keep anybody in the dark. Nobody needs to be hearing a second-hand, a second-hand information when you can as well just create a schedule where you can communicate every single thing that's happening in this project with your internal team and everybody on the stakeholder list. You need to schedule a regular meeting, updates, or progress reports to keep stakeholders informed about project status, the milestone, and any changes that is going to be happening at any point in time in the project. You need to also prioritize your engagement efforts based on stakeholders' level of interest and impact on project outcomes. This honestly just means that when you are informing your stakeholders about, the progress at every point in time in your life cycle, not all stakeholders need to know like the extensive information, like everything that is going on, like from dotting your T's to from dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And just identifying which stakeholders will need certain information is also an important task as a web project manager. You need to know that, my clients will want to know why we are using, holding images or text, holding text for this particular section on this website, or our end users will want to know why this functionality why we are using this functionality, right? So you need to also identify which information goes to which stakeholders, which is actually a very important role as well. And time management. Time management, setting realistic expectations ensure stakeholders have a clear understanding of what can be achieved within the project constraints and reduce the risk of disappointment or frustration. So when you have a project at hand, obviously your clients must have given you a time frame when they want their project to be done. So setting realistic, what they want may or may not be realistic, right? So it's your job as a project manager to set realistic expectations to them, to communicate with them and tell them that this project, I know you want it to be done in 8 weeks, but this will take us 16 weeks. And these are the reasons why this will take us 16 weeks. You need to be able to make sure that they understand the reason why you're probably extending or why you are choosing to use a different scope. I need to also make sure that you are doing all of these things in a very constrained manner, like you are managing your time effectively, basically. So collaboratively define your project goals, objective, and success criteria with your stakeholders. This will help you manage your time effectively, and at the end of the day, ensure that your project is done on time and it's a success at the end of the day. Another way to be able to manage your stakeholder expectation is by creating a project management methodology. So we have two different types of methodology, right? And you need to choose the appropriate methodology based on the project requirements. The two different types of methodologies that we have are the Agile and the Waterfall. So the Agile methodology facilitates iterative development and continuous feedback, ideal for a dynamic web project. While the Waterfall methodology follows a sequential approach suited for projects with well-defined scope and requirements. So you need to understand this as a web project manager, and so you can choose the one that best fits the project that you are handling at the moment. So the next and last but not the least way to manage your stakeholder expectation is by project management tools. You need to utilize different tools like Trello, Asana, or Jira for task tracking, progress monitoring, and team communication. All of these tools are softwares that can help you track the progress of your project and can ensure effective communication within your team members and within the stakeholders as well. You need to implement communication platforms to also streamline your workflow and ensure alignment among team members and stakeholders. Management accurately estimates project costs and allocates resource based on budget constraints. You need to track your expenses and manage resources effectively to prevent budget overruns and ensure project viability. By incorporating these project management methodologies, tools, and budget management practice empowers teams to optimize efficiency, mitigate risk, and deliver exceptional results. By selecting the right methodology, leveraging appropriate tools, and maintaining effective budget management practices, teams can streamline process, enhance collaboration, and achieve successful website launch within budgetary constraints. What all of this grammar that I just speak right now really means is that by using all of these methods to ensure that you can manage your stakeholders' expectations, this is going to help you to get to the end result of what you're trying to achieve, which is like the success of your web project. Now this takes us to evaluating project success. Roles of stakeholders in evaluating project success. We have different stakeholders, and what I've been saying earlier, what I've been saying since is that different stakeholders have what success means to them in a project. And we are going to be talking about how this success affects different stakeholders at every different level. So the first thing that you need to do to evaluate your project success is to define success criteria. Stakeholders play a critical role in defining the criteria, metrics, and KPIs for measuring success. Assessing KPI performance. Stakeholders also evaluate project success by assessing KPI performance, which are the key point indicators for performance against predetermined targets and benchmarks. They analyze various data points to gauge the effectiveness of project strategies and initiatives and identify areas for improvement. Providing feedback. Providing feedback to stakeholders on project performance, deliverables, and outcomes. Their feedback helps project team understand stakeholder needs and preference, identity areas of concern, and make adjustments to enhance project success. Providing feedback is like the communication aspect of web project development. So by providing feedback, your clients can help you understand your stakeholders can help you understand what is the next thing to do, what are the things that you need to take out of this project and things that you need to introduce to this project, basically. And another way to evaluate your project success is a continuous improvement. At every point in time when your stakeholders give a feedback, you need to ensure that you are integrating these feedbacks into your web projects. Stakeholder feedback drives continuous improvement by identifying opportunities for refinement and innovations. By incorporating stakeholders input, the future planning and decision-making process project team can enhance project effectiveness and ensure ongoing stakeholder satisfaction. Like I said before, by integrating your stakeholders' feedback, it means that you can ensure that they can give you more feedbacks in the future, and they can know that, oh, you're integrating their feedback. You're not just listening to them and not doing what they ask you to do. And sometimes your stakeholders' expectations or their feedback may not be like on the same scope that you are using for your project. So you need to also communicate back to them that their feedback has been heard but you cannot integrate this feedback based off of like the scope that you're using. And obviously different stakeholders will have different opinions of your project. So you need to make sure that everyone is on the same page when it comes to the improvement that you're making on your web project. So this takes us to the conclusion of our topic today. What are the key takeaways? So in summary, the effective website launch hinge on managing stakeholders' expectations, underscored and by clear communication and stakeholder analysis. So through planning and execution, including defining project scope and objectives, they are very pivotal for success outcomes. When you meticulously plan your web project from the point of taking the project to the execution to the success of the project, these rules or these stages play a very important role for how your web project is basically going to turn out, or the success of this web project. So your regular updates and feedback sessions create alignment between your stakeholders and your project goals. Communication is key. I said it before, I'm still going to reiterate it, that communicating at every point or at every life cycle of your project to your stakeholders and getting their feedbacks, also integrating this feedback and getting their feedback on the ones that you've already integrated. It's just like a circle, right? It's cyclical. So you need to make sure that everybody is on the same page and they're working towards the same goal. From your internal team, the people that are actively involved in the project managers, which is yourself, the designers, the content creators, the management, even your end users, right? So getting feedback from these people or your third party as well is going to give you an unlimited access to information that you need as a web project manager to make sure that your web project is a success. Another key point is utilizing your agile methodologies and change management processes enables teams to adapt to evolving requirements and mitigate scope creep. So when you adapt to these methodologies that you have, or the ones that either the waterfall or the agile methodology, it helps you to, be able to quickly adapt. For example, when your stakeholders request for something else to be done on this web project, because you already have an existing scope that you are using for this web project, it is going to help you and your internal team, everybody that is actively involved in this project, to be able to adapt quickly to every single requirement that your stakeholders require. The last key point is going to be leveraging project management tools like NAT, chart, and Kanban boards, streamlines communication, task tracking, and collaboration, boosting efficiency and productivity. When you have some of these softwares that help you to track your success and the progress of your website, it's going to help you create a free flow of communication within your internal team and the stakeholders ultimately. So you need to make sure that you are making use of one or all of this, or all of these softwares or all of these tools, basically, to make sure that your project is a success. When your communication is seamless between your team and then your stakeholders, it ultimately helps you to be able to manage their expectations. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that a web project is successful and it is tailored to everything that different stakeholders are going to understand as success, are going to believe that this is success to us. For your clients, they know that this project is aligning with their brand goals. And for the executive members, they know that this project, the time constraint that we've given this project was met, and it was also done within the budget that was allocated for this particular project. Your end users are going to measure the success by saying that, oh, this web project or this website is very easy to navigate, the functionality is great, and then the user experience is exceptional. So you need to make sure that at every point, at every life cycle of your project, different stakeholders are satisfied, basically. So that basically brings us to the end of this topic. If you have any questions, please, I'm going to be entertaining any questions right now. And I hope you've been able to learn one or two things as a project manager, as a web project manager, in managing the expectations of your stakeholders and the tools that you can make use to manage these expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, Darasimi, for that great presentation. Well done, Anitra. Well done.
Thank you, Praise.
You're welcome. Please, do we have questions for Darasimi or a feedback for her? All right, in the absence of questions and any feedback, we can now bring the session to an end. Please note that this video will be available on our YouTube channel. And if you have questions while watching the video, kindly drop them in the comment section. We'll be very happy to answer your questions. Do join us next time for another session and do have a lovely day. Goodbye, everyone.